I want to share a story about telekinesis, moving objects with the mind. It's not as difficult or as hard as you might believe it is. If you think it's not possible, then it's not possible. I was in India at an ashram outside of Pune, and there was a group of Germans there and some other people, and a couple of the Germans were my friends, and I befriended two of them, a guy named Lars and a guy named David. And they were staying in this little bungalow that had a steel door frame with a steel bolt on the inside, a steel bolt on the outside. So if you went into this bungalow, this hooch, and you're in the inside, you just slide the bolt into the hole in the metal frame, and it locked it. Nobody could come in, and it was secure in the inside. And in the outside, when you left, you would bolt it from the outside, and you could put a lock on it, and nobody could get in the inside. You secure the place. It's impossible to lock the inside from the outside or vice versa because there's a steel frame. They're not connected. Two separate bolts. And if the bolt's a little bit coming forward, it will hit the door frame, the metal door frame, and it won't close. So it can't even be slightly extended. It has to be all the way back and locked. Anyway, so one day I'm talking to these young men and I'm telling them about the power of the mind and stuff because I thought I needed to give them a little lecture about visualization, how you could visualize things. I told them a stupid story about me winning all these sports trophies, basketball and baseball and everything, because I visualized it over and over again, and I saw this whole room full of trophies, and in 2 years, it's exactly what happened. And I'm a terrible baseball player, yet I put together these winning teams and went out and won awards, huge trophies. And it was all because I saw it in my mind, I visualized it, and I brought it back. Anyway, that was I was telling these guys for a reason, because I wanted to build their minds to this point of acceptance and let them learn a lesson about visualization. You visualize it, it can happen. So one night I hear all this banging and crying and pounding, and I get out of my bungalow and I walk over in the dark to this other one where they're staying. There's two of these German guys, Lars and David. And somehow when they closed the door, it locked in the inside. Well, 15 years this ashram being there at that time, it never happened before. And as far as I can tell, this was 2010. It's never happened since. So it was locked from the inside, and there was no way to get it open, and all the windows around had metal and stuff, so there was no way to get inside. The only way you could do this thing would be to somehow take off the hinges or get a hacksaw and put it through the edge of the door and cut it. There's no way to get it open. And they're pounding on it, and I told them, look, let me find you another place to stay, to spend the night. Let me visualize it tonight, and I'll take care of it for you in the morning. And I said that with great confidence. Don't know why, but I said it with very, very great confidence. And they went to bed, and the next day they got up and they tried to get in, and it was locked still. And so they went up to the temple to meditate. And while they were up there, I walked to the door, and in my mind I saw the thing changing. And so I reached out my hand, and I just lightly touched the door, the steel door, and the bolt went shunk, and the door flew open. I'm going, wow, that's cool, but nobody was there to witness it, right? I thought, well, okay. So I'm standing there looking at the open door, and pretty soon David and Lars come back down for the meditation, and Dave goes, hey, look, I opened the door. I was visualizing it happening when I was at the temple meditating. I said, did you visualize me doing it? They go, no, I did it. And I said, okay, all right. So when I sat down and relaxed, and they went inside and they got something, and it locked again. It was totally locked again. What's the odds? So they started banging on the door, and they come get me, and I said, okay, you say you visualized it to open? Go ahead, visualize it. Open it. Show me how you did it. So about 15 minutes going by, and then he ends up pounding with his foot and his hand and shaking it, and the other guy pounds and shakes with his foot. And then pretty soon we had 5 or 6 other people gathered around, some Indians, a guy named Akash and some other people were all trying to open this door. Finally, I look at the group and I said, okay, try to open the door. I asked Akash, try to open the door. And he goes, it's locked, it ain't going anywhere. I said, everybody agrees it's locked, it's not going anywhere. Yeah. So I reached over and I just took my hand gently, my fingers, and just touched the door like that. And shebang! The bolt flies back. The door flies open like the police just kicked down the front door. And poof, it was totally wide open. And everybody was just standing there with their mouths open, you know. Um, and everybody got excited. Now, I wasn't facing them. I had my back to them, but I was kind of like, I was a little amused myself, to be honest with you. I was a little surprised. And so I turned around like this is something that happens every day, and I just go, okay, there you go. And I walked away, right? These guys were just like, well. So they went and they told the guru that, blah, blah, what I did and everything, and he come and talked to me, and I told him, and I said, yeah, I'm sorry, I did that, I was showing off. And, but the bottom line was this. I was able to channel and focus energy through imaging in my mind and visualization on that inner lock. We're talking about a steel bolt into a steel framed doorway, jamb, with a big hole in there, all steel, and that thing unbolts, and the door itself flies open. It wasn't moving or anything when people were kicking it, banging it, and shaking it for 15 minutes. And I had it checked just before I did it, and it was still locked. And the fact is that I blatantly told them with the greatest of confidence, okay, now watch this. Here's how you open the door. And boom, and it happens. Without slightest hesitation of doubt, the door opened. I knew it would open, and I knew it would open twice. So the first time it opened, there was no witnesses, and David thought he did it. It locks again, which was totally bizarre that it locked again just for the purpose of the demonstration, and he couldn't unlock it, and I had to show how to unlock it. So the whole set of circumstances was really unique and odd, and anyway, it created an interesting relationship between me and Dave and Lars, and to this day that it exists, and I consider them both friends. But there was about half a dozen people at least witnessed that, saw it, and accepted that as a reality. I knew it was going to happen, and I believed it was going to happen because I saw it in my mind. How that works, I'm not exactly sure, but I know if you visualize something and you hold that image, like if you're trying to move something on a table, for example, whether it's a glass, a can, anything, and you visualize it moving, you should be able to do the same thing. Theoretically.